Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you the LEGO Ninjago Katana 4x4 as well as Cole's dirt bike. We're going to start with Cole's dirt bike because it's fairly small and straightforward in a good way. The two protagonists in this set are Cole and Kai, both in their regular forms, so not forbidden spinjitzu forms for either of them here. And I think both of them look pretty good. Both of them have the built-up weapons with the dragon head hilts. There are those faces with nothing obscuring them, and they also have alternate faces for each, of course. For villains, there's just one regular pyro destroyer, as regular as they come. I mean, you got the nice copper colors for the shield and the khopesh, and the new armor piece, which looks pretty good, and then of course the dual molded head with the trans orange in it, and plenty of it, so you get that flame effect around the sides of the neck, and also jeweled eyes. So when the light hits it right, you can see a little bit of glow there. That transparent orange also comes down into the mouth, but it has a dark backing behind it with the brown color, so you're not really able to appreciate that in there. You're not really able to get a glow in the mouth. Only you can see it just a little bit, just a little glint of it from the side. There's the rest of the torso print that's usually obscured a little bit. Not the best print or prints, in my opinion. They're really overshadowed by the copper and the new head. The bike shows that LEGO still loves their half tracks. And I like the design, the look of half tracks, but oftentimes they don't roll well, unfortunately, especially on hard surfaces. Is there any difference here? Oh yes. Oh yes, there definitely is. This has just the perfect amount of tension and the perfect amount of weight on it, and it rolls easily. Good choices of design and pieces there. This just probably is the best rolling half track that they've ever done. One of the better rolling tracked vehicles that they've ever done, especially to not include a cheater wheel. There's no actual rubber wheel that's in contact to make this front track spin. So that's actually pretty nice. You get a single set of the wheel covers, I guess, that we have on this rear tire. Maybe tire clamps, I don't know, whatever you want to call these add-on pieces. I think they're used to pretty good effect here. They give a nice amount of gold, leaving this single strip of black, which kind of continues through that, that strip, or stripe, continues through pretty well. So I think the overall visual design of this is pretty nice. I like the use of a little bit of gold here. Have just a little bit of gold for the Technic pulleys that are used inboard there. A little bit of blue showing up here. I never liked that. I think those definitely could have been done with the black, but yeah, they went with the blue here. Just the one thing that breaks the color scheme. Notice that this rock texture piece has some paint applications on it. Now that's actually a nice piece and very, very reusable. Some of the prints that they've put on these pieces in the past and some of the colors they've used have not been usable for a lot of things, I think. But it has to be the most usable color scheme for that, because it just makes it look more rocky than it is by default. So they just added a little bit of light gray on there, and that's a really good print. So I hope that they will continue to use that piece with that print in the future. Cole just stands up there, holds onto a couple of holds onto a handlebar, and he's got the banner back here. You can change the angle of that just a little bit. Stickers on either side for that. Stud shooters, one over here, one over here. You can use them if you want. They're easy to access if you're just playing with this. Oh yeah, you can angle it to the side so you can lean in turns. That's good. It balances just fine. You can leave it over to the side. That's a little bit more of a angle than I would like to see for an action pose, but that's okay. Overall, I think it's just a successful design. It does what you want it to do, as long as you're not expecting too much from it. And I wasn't, and I'm just happy that it rolls well and has a pretty clean look. This set comes with an entire Ninjago weapon accessories kit in gold and doesn't use most of the pieces, so you're left with most of those as spares at the end, which is great. And you also have the single spare silver katana, so lots of good stuff here, and a couple of these studs over here are just spares that are intended to be included, part of the official set for your stud shooters. Oh yeah, speaking of weapons, that's one thing that is missing here. is the ability to hold on to Cole's own hammer. There's just no clip. If they had just added that one piece somewhere, I think it would have added a lot to the set. You know, it would be nice to just not have to store this somewhere off screen. $20 does feel like a little bit much to me for the size of this in its completed form, but at least the quality is very good. That's an excellent figure, and that generous selection of spare pieces does help with the value a bit. I would like to see this discounted a little bit, but a $15 price point I feel would probably be a little bit too generous for a suggested retail price. So if you can find this on sale at some point, that would be awesome. But its standard price is not too bad. And if you're on the fence about buying this, but you kind of like what it looks like, but you're not sure if it'll be quite as good in person, I can say, at least from my perspective, it's at least as good in person as it appears in the box art and everything. Now for the Katana 4x4, kind of a funky, classic Lego original IP vehicle, you know, strange by intent, different by intent. Reminds me a lot of one or two of the Space Police 3 villain vehicles or craft with its overall shape and design of the main body of it. Let's get this thing out of the way first. You got this huge spinning shuriken at the front, and I expected that to spin while the vehicle moves, but it's actually not geared up at all, and in fact, that gear there does not touch any other gears whatsoever. Instead, what you're intended to do is reach down to this thing, and whenever you want to spin the blade, move that forward and backward, and it gets kind of stuck. See, the gear at the front is moving past a rubber piece that just makes brief contact, and then it freewheels after that. You're supposed to be able to access this easily as you drive it around, but I've just not been able to get it lined up properly. It just wants to bind, so it's not smooth. I really need to get my fingers under there to spin that up more consistently. So not the best design for that, and I feel like it could have been more exciting. The overall shape of the body, I think, is done very nicely. The build is a little bit unexpected at some points, in my opinion. Some things didn't make sense until later on, but it all comes together well. I especially like these two little stickers down on the sides of those 2x2 by 1, 1x2 by 1 panel pieces. You know, you can really get that to look nice and smooth around the edges with the use of those. So very good stickers there. The rest of these aren't needed so much. This is a print for the top of the canopy, which the whole canopy can pop up, and that's a pretty nice interior, actually. You get a couple of console printed pieces as well as a steering wheel inside of there, so that's good to see. There is a huge and super obvious scratch on this. Unfortunately, this is the newer style of clear material, transparent material, which does seem to scratch much more easily in my experience so far than the older material, so that's not good. This thing has a bed back here. It's like a pickup bed, or almost a flat bed, but it's got raised sides. I'm going to call it a pickup, which, kind of puts a different spin on this, pardon the pun, in my opinion. I thought it was supposed to be like a car, but no, it's more like a truck. Put whatever you want back there, but you know, you've got some space for tools and weapons to be attached. So hey, they've got the clips for minifig accessories there. That's good. You can raise this up. These stickers go on both sides, so a total of 4 stickers used there for the banner. This raises up to give you access to some additional weaponry, so they actually do use in this set some of the extra pieces that weren't attached to figures. Got a couple of engines back here, the same large tires with the wheel clamp cover pieces on either side, as well as hubs inside in gold. Those all look pretty good. And from the very first time that I saw this, I realized that it was probably going to do like a Lego Batman movie, Batmobile. You know, it had the parking mode. I thought that this was going to do that, but it doesn't. You can't get this any lower to the ground. This is just it. As a matter of fact, there are no transforming features, which is surprising to me for a unique, weird, strange, different original IP vehicle. You know, there's no split off function. There's no transformation. It doesn't pull out and then get lower to the ground or anything. I'm okay with that, but it does feel a little bit lacking just relative to some things that they've done before. And this one feature down here, that's kind of its marquee action feature, is just not good enough to me. Probably the nicest thing that they've done here as far as integrating things together is with the hood. And that's one of the surprising parts of the build. It didn't make sense to me. Probably if you watch the build videos, you'll see I'm like, what? This is just set up to give a tiny bit of angle. It doesn't even angle forward that much. Well, it's part of the mechanism to fire the spring-loaded shooters that are integrated way in there. You push on this, and you can do it differentially, so you can fire off just one at a time. Actually, it's back here. Wait, yeah, there we go. See, I can fire off just one at a time because there's just a little bit of play in there. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. It's a little bit farther back that you have to push a little bit closer to this. But yeah, it's just that little bit of movement that gives it just enough leverage to hit one of these tails, and that's nicely done. You know, you basically don't even see it at all. There we go. Yeah, works pretty well. Other than that, it's basically a car, or excuse me, a pickup truck. I think it has some good style. Could have done without this, could have done with something else instead. Here are this set's protagonists, and it's Kai again, in the exact same form of him that we saw in the dirt bike set, and then Nia FS, or Forbidden Spinjitzu. Nia's FS version, or form, is a lot more visually subtle than the other FS Ninja, because the trans light blue that's used for the flame part of her dual molded cowl doesn't have that fluorescent or kind of day glow look, the more neon look that some of the others do. And it's also dulled down a bit by the base color of gunmetal gray. And I actually like that. I think this looks, I don't know, just looks a little bit more mature, a little bit more, I guess, less toyish. I don't know, it's just good to have some variety, but I think that color scheme works out well for her. There's a look at those alternate faces, and Nia's second face is slightly offset to one side from the main one, but that really doesn't matter with the cowls that cover up the back of the head by default anyway. And there you have just their more mean, more serious faces. Nia also gets her Forbidden Spinjitzu spinning tornado cyclone piece, which has the same color scheme, trans light blue as the main, a little bit of glitter in there, and the gunmetal gray at the base, all dual molded together. On the bad guy side, here we have the mighty Char, who uses a recolored and very nicely printed Pythor base piece with the tail on it. Very good printing on the front of that figure. And notice that the head here is the more sleek, more slick version that doesn't have the Cobra-like hood extensions off to the side. There's more of the trans orange, though, just plain trans orange, which lets you see a lot of glow when you look at it from the side. Also a little bit going up the top of the head. You can see the fangs get a little bit of glow in them if you get the light hitting from just the right angle, and also the eyes. Once again, that staff is nice. You know, it's kind of straightforward, but I think it works really well. Looks very appropriate for this theme. Very nice figure here. And there's the full print on the back of that torso. And I also want to show you the full print on the front. And it lines up pretty well. Now here on the right is a Pyro Slayer, who looks pretty much the same as the Pyro Destroyer from the previous set, just has a different weapon in one hand. But on the left is a Pyro Whipper, who comes with a whip.
Why are you saying it like that?
I'm putting emphasis on the H.
Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H?
Whip.
And also the different head. So this is the same head that's used on Char, but in the more basic color scheme. So, you know, rather than black, you get the brown there. So this may show that a little bit better. And yeah, got that bright fiery color. Both of these molds were done fantastically well. And for the most part, the light goes through them really, really nicely. It just makes you want to look at them from different angles for a while, I think. Last thing in the set is this small pedestal build to hold on to a weapon with the Scroll of Forbidden Spinjitzu. And this is nice. It's a small build, Not too many pieces, but it looks really good to me, especially for its size and complexity. And I like the dual molding of that weapon. Gives it a little bit of marbling, and it's just interesting. You know, it just looks cool. Of course, you can use that with a figure. Once again, quite a few spare weapon pieces are included here, which is great to see, as well as the other 2 Forbidden Spinjitzu scrolls, because they're all just printed together, so you don't have to worry about collecting those. Get one set, and you get all 3. For $50 US, I would have expected a little bit more out of this, out of the main vehicle. The figures are excellent. The price to part ratio is perfectly fine. But the vehicle itself is just a little bit lacking in what all it can do. I think its design is going to be something that is totally subjective as to whether you like it or not. I half like it, half dislike it. I would like it definitely better if it had a transforming feature, just something simple where you could just make it lower to the ground if you wanted. Or if this down here worked a lot better. I could kind of do without this, to be honest. The way that it's designed right now, the big spinner thing at the front. I also need to say something about this box in particular because it's kind of egregious. It's a large box, and inside only half of it had parts in it. And you know, there's a point of sale marketing doctrine that states that a larger box means you can command a higher price. Or if you set a higher price for a product up front, then you need to have a bigger box for it. That didn't work out so well here because you end up with a half full or half empty box. And yeah, that's just not very good. It's kind of wasteful and a little bit deceptive to the eyes. But yeah, I think that if this had enough going for it, the whole set had enough going for it to justify this size of box, then it would have been at a good price. But it's just a little bit lacking in the feature realm, so I would ask for this to be discounted. I wouldn't want to pay more than, I think $39.99 feels good to me for this, for its size, for what it can do, for the selection of figures. That feels right to me. $50 seems like too much. If you want to see how Cole's dirt bike and the Katana 4x4 went together, you can choose either real-time builds for each with no talking, no music, no skipping of steps, or the speed build versions. I've got both of those up, and you can find them on the respective channels. I will link to some of that stuff at the end of the video as much as I can fit on the screen, and I'll also link to some stuff down in the pinned comments. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was useful for you, or at least entertaining, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Why are you saying it like that?